Give me just a moment here. Okay, good morning, brethren, and welcome to our devotional meeting of the Society of Light this morning, April 11th, 2026. It is great to meet again in this virtual gathering of Masons to explore the principles and mysteries of Masonry and learn how to apply its practical wisdom to everyday life and personal growth. We welcome worthy men of all faiths who seek deeper understanding through thoughtful Socratic dialogue around the disciplines of philosophy, science, and service as enduring pillars of Masonry. Our aim is to foster genuine brotherhood and to encourage curiosity and exploration while also supporting one another in building lives of meaning, integrity, and compassion. Prospective Masonic candidates and other interested men can gain exposure here to the ideals of Masonry and the character they inspire. The society is designed to complement, not replace, the instruction of the Masonic degrees, extending the light of Masonry outside the walls of the lodge into the digital world and beyond to counter the darkness and ignorance so prevalent in the world today. We would like to thank you for choosing awareness over comfort, brotherhood over petty division, intentional thinking over idle thoughts, and working together in the performance of our mission. Presiding over this meeting is President Mason Bonagura, and conducting is me, Matt Piper, first counselor to the president. We acknowledge the presence of Brother Jesse Charland, second counselor to the president, Brother Sean Ferreira, serving as the president of the quorum, and Brother Steve Pham, who is here, the secretary of the lodge. Announcements. The presidency would like to ask all brethren to continue to pray personally and in group on behalf of our brother Anthony Herrera from Chicago and for brother David Pearson. And as we pray for one another, please also pray for the protection of all Masons and the innocent victims of war and violence across the globe. We'd like to remind you that every Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. California time, Pacific Standard, Brother Justin DeAngelis is holding an esoteric class for all those interested to attend. We invite you all to attend our social meeting right after this one for fellowshipping and networking. We shall now begin our meeting with an opening scripture read by Brother Terry Mayer. I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. And following him, the invocation shall be offered by Brother Octavio Durand. Opening scripture, Terry, please.
Good morning. It is the
Good morning.
condition of our heart and the integrity of our conduct that tells the grand architect who we have chosen to be. Masonry does not need of hearers, but doers of the work.
Beautiful. Thank you, Terry. Invocation, Brother Octavio. No, oh, there he is at the bottom. You're
Can
on
you
mute.
hear me?
Oh, no, you're not. Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Good morning, brethren.
Good morning.
Dear God, please, dear God, we gathered this morning to thank Thee for all the blessings that we are receiving, for the knowledge that we are gaining, and for the opportunity to see each other and learn from each other. We thank Thee for our families and for the freedoms that we have, including the one to have this meeting. We thank Thee also for Freemasonry and for its teachings, and I personally thank Thee for getting out of this situation that I've been having, and for the brethren that have been asking and praying for me and calling and messaging. We ask Thee to bless us that we can have a good heart, an open heart and open mind today to learn and to apply these principles. Please please bless Brother Terry, Graham, I can't pronounce it, but David and Anthony, that they can have peace and also the blessings of the strength and the blessings from us, the brethren. And we also ask you to bless those who are being hurt and damaged and affected by war, and those that will be as well. Please bless us that we can be strong in our convictions and strong in our that we can conduct our lives with integrity and remain strong in these principles in spite of what's going on in the world. We have to bless the brother who's going to share the knowledge and the lesson today, and we ask these things according to thy will. Amen.
So motivated.
So motivated.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Octavio, and we thank Brother Terry as well for the scripture and the prayer. I'll now turn the time over to President Mason, and following him, President Charlin will introduce our speaker this morning. President Mason.
Thank you very much, Brother Piper, and thank you, Brother Octavio, once again for the prayer. I would like to acknowledge and welcome all the brothers who are visiting for the first time. As far as I can tell, possibly like Brother Ronnie, Brother Keenan, thank you so much for taking the time out of your Saturday. I know it's probably one of the only 2 days off that you get, so I can't express really how much I appreciate it.
Mason, this is Brother Keenan's second time. He works with us in Chicago. He's our electrical engineer and partner. And then Ronnie has been my business partner for 20 years. I lived on his ranch and started my career there. So just letting you guys know.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Brother.
Thank you. Well, we look forward to getting to know you guys in our social hour that follows our meeting here. But I would also like to just thank Brother Justin Gingerly, the former Grand Inspector of the Grand Lodge of California, Brother Paul Gonzalez, who is the Spanish-speaking lodge's president of the quorum, as well as Worshipful Master Lance Pereira for their time and dedication to our Masonic family. And with that being said, I will now turn the time over to President Jesse Charlin for the introduction of the speaker this morning.
Brothers, I have the honor to introduce Brother Sean Ferreira as our speaker this morning. Brother Sean came to the light of Masonry almost 3 years ago. It is easier to join Freemasonry than to actually become a Mason, because Masonry is a labor of love, love for the Grand Architect, love for our fellow men, and love for ourselves. We are blessed to count on this young brother's experience and talents as we work together in our common cause to aid, protect, and support others. Brother Sean is not a frequent speaker in our devotional meetings. He holds a position of quorum president of the Society of Light. Out in the world, he is a graduate in education with specialty on linguistics. May I present Brother Sean Ferreira with his class titled Reading the Light, Knowing When to Stop, Go Slow, and When to Bust a Move. Brother Sean.
Thank you very much, Jesse, for the introduction. So today's presentation is based on a metaphor. As Jesse said, it's called Reading the Light, Knowing When to Stop, Go Slow, and When to Bust a Move. So it's like we're going to talk about, when we know when to stop, when we know when to slow down, and when we know when to go, and when we don't know when to do those things. Because sometimes life just does them for us, right? And then it's more like an actual stoplight at that point. So here we go. Everyone understands a stoplight. Green means go, yellow means slow down, red means stop. It's simple until you're stuck at a red light for 5 minutes and start thinking you just want to go. In real life, the signals aren't always clear. But more importantly, sometimes you control the light and sometimes you don't. So what's the real question? The real question is, can you recognize the light you're in and respond correctly? When you control the light, this is when you live intentionally. This is where discipline lives. These are the moments where growth is chosen, not forced. Red as a chosen stop. Red doesn't always mean failure. Sometimes red means you choose to pause. You take a day off. You step back. You say, I'm not moving forward right now because I need to reset. That's not weakness. That's awareness. Most people run themselves into the ground because they don't know how to choose red. They wait until life forces it. Can you intentionally stop before you're forced to? Yellow as a conscious shutdown. Yellow is where wisdom starts to sharpen. You're still moving, but you're paying attention. You're adjusting. You're thinking before the next move. No hesitation, calibration. This is where you refine your direction instead of blindly pushing forward. Are you slowing down to think or speeding up to avoid thinking? Green as a go with gusto. Green is alignment. You know what needs to be done and you move. No overthinking, no hesitation, just execution. This is where momentum is built. But here's the catch. Most people don't fail because they don't have green lights. They fail because they don't trust them when they appear. When it's go time, do you go fully? So here's the transition. This is the ideal. This is when you're in full control, right? But life doesn't always ask you what you want. Like a real stoplight, the light guiding your life often changes without your permission. So here's part two. When life controls the light, this is where your character is revealed and integrity is practiced. Forced red, when life stops you. You didn't choose it, it chose you. You lose the job, you lose the opportunity. Everything halts. For me, in 2022, I got laid off. They laid off half the department. They called it downsizing. That was a red light that I didn't choose. And in that moment, you get two options. You can panic, or you can reframe the stop as preparation. Because sometimes red isn't punishment, it's protection or redirection. I personally decided to become a teacher after that. Not every stop is a setback. Some are setups. When you have a forced yellow, it just means life needs to slow down a little bit. So life slows you down. This is the uncomfortable space. Nothing is fully stopping, but nothing is moving either. You're waiting, you're unsure, you're in between. And this is where most people break because they don't know how to exist in the yellow. They rush it. They force decisions. They try to skip the process. But yellow is where clarity is built. If you stay present. If you can't sit in yellow, you'll never be ready for green. The unexpected green, when life says go. Sometimes the door just opens, opportunity shows up, momentum hits, and everything just aligns really quickly. And here's the danger. If you've been sitting too long in red or yellow, you'll hesitate, you'll second guess, and you'll miss it. Because green doesn't wait forever. Opportunity isn't rare, but readiness is. Green doesn't always mean go harder. Sometimes it means go smarter. So here's the real skill. This is where integration happens. The problem isn't the light. The problem is misreading it. Running through red is burnout, collapse. Stopping on green, missed opportunity. You ever see those people that just stop at a green light? Hesitating in yellow, stagnation. Mastery is simple, but not easy. Recognize the light, respond correctly. That's it. But that requires awareness, discipline, and honesty with yourself. So here's the question I want you to sit with. What light are you in right now? Not last week, not next month, right now. Are you supposed to stop and reset, slow down and calibrate, or go fully unapologetically? And the deeper question, are you honoring that light or fighting it? Take a moment. Be real with yourself. Identify your light. Then make one decision today that aligns with it. And when we open this up, we're not just talking about ideas. We're talking about what you're actually going to change. That's it. Thank you very much, brothers. Those are my thoughts for the day, and I would love to hear what you all have to say.
Beautiful job, Sean. Before I open up the floor for speakers and sharers, first, if you would like to share, or if you have any comments or questions for Sean, raise your virtual hand by clicking react and then using the virtual raise hand button that is there. Fellows are encouraged to keep shares and comments to 4 minutes or less, and I will set a timer to help guide each share. And I will give you a respectful reminder when you have 1 minute left. Okay? So go ahead, raise your hand. Matt Piper, come on in, dude.
And I'm sorry, Brother Matt, but if no one can do the reaction, hold your hand up like this, and then myself or Brother Jesse here will add you to the queue of hands, and you'll be called.
And those of you using your phones, I believe it's *9 or something. *6. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I just
if
hit
you're
the
using
three
Zoom on your
dots.
phone,
I'll
it's
use
there
that
under
next time.
react.
I'll look it up next time because there are some people using their phone.
And,
But you
and
can
if,
always.
and if your hands are occupied, just blink each eye in rapid succession, and we'll recognize you.
Okay, we'll keep a lookout for that. All right,
Brother
Matt.
Matt, I
Hey,
think you have the floor.
Sean, nice job, brother. I really like that. A lot of fodder for thought. Some of the things that came up for me is, it's kind of funny because this has been very real in my life as of late. And it was this reflection around like stopping versus going. Like every time I say no to something, it feels like a contraction. And I almost always have some sort of sense of like, oh man, should I have just gone with it to have the experience? And every time I say yes to some element of life, it seems like almost across the board, whether the ultimate effects are good or bad, I'm happy I had the experience. So I would coordinate this red, green, and yellow thing with my own sense of like expansion, contraction. Am I saying yes to life and what life offers, or am I shielding myself, isolating myself, keeping myself out of touch with others? Not moving towards, but just staying in this sort of in stasis. Um, so that's what came up for me. And then I was also struck by this idea of motivation. I'll be real quick here. Sometimes we want to say yes to something, but we don't have the capacity. We're not right energetically, or we don't have the motive force. And so I'm also struggling with some of that, with distractions, with energetic issues. And yeah, anyways, I just wanted to relate that. Thank you so much, Sean. Love the presentation.
Yeah, no, I think the dynamic you set up, like that's perfectly Matt. You know what I mean? Like that's your green and that's your red. Though you know what those two things are for you. You know what I mean? You have that very well mapped out. Some people don't have that mapped out. And I think that this helps with that. And but you've got that set up already. That was perfect. I liked that a lot. How you related that to yourself.
Thank you.
Brother
Art, go
Artie.
for
Thank you, Brother Sean. Yeah, it was a nice presentation, and I can relate to a lot of that, and I agree with pretty much everything you said there. My only concern or question is that, you posed the question, right? Identify which light is in front of you, right, and act accordingly. But like for me, I'm trying to identify, okay, what light do I see, right? I'm like colorblind pretty much, and you can see the light, but I don't know, is that okay, is this a good time to act? Is this a good time to force things, or is it a good time to retreat? And like, I'm just praying for wisdom that will give me, well, that will treat my color blindness at this point. But hopefully, one day, another thing that I want to say is that maybe you have an advice how you can identify what light is in front of you and how, well, okay, once you know what light is in front of you, then it's up to you how you're going to act on it, right? But at least to identify the light, that's kind of a difficult question. And the God helps with that, obviously, but we cannot, we don't have the capacity to comprehend God completely and entirely, right? So I would appreciate any advices in terms of how to identify the light in front of you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, um, for me, I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, but for me to identify that, it's like, how am I feeling? Am I, is what I'm doing working? Is it making me feel good about, or, am I putting too much energy into something that is just, not working for me at the moment? And sometimes you don't realize how much energy you're putting into something, and you're versus how much what you're getting out of it. It feels good at first, and then you realize after a while it's like, wait, that's not actually working for me. I just enjoyed it. You know what I mean? It's not actually getting me anywhere. You know what I mean? Like me, when I used to teach a bunch of like free classes a couple times a week. Now I only do one a week, and it's part of like my tutoring service. It's part of like trying to attract students. Before I just did it for the fun of it, but I realized like I can't. That I had to put a red light on that. You know what I mean? Or at least a yellow light. I had to slow it down so I could focus on other things, and prioritize. Prioritize something else that was actually going to help me. So I guess it's just like just looking at what you're doing, and maybe writing like a list of like,
Yeah,
is this working for me? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Or
looking at the results, right?
yeah,
The effort you put in and
yeah,
what
like
kind of
what
result you
what am
get.
I
Yeah,
doing right now? What are the results I'm getting from them? And then actually looking at it on paper, or writing it on your phone, and then just like, am I actually getting results out of this? And then you can decide what to stop, what to go, what to slow down. You know what I mean? I've done that before, but I kind of just do that in my head. Other people are better at writing it down. You know what I mean? But it's just, so that's why I suggest maybe writing it down. But maybe you could just do that in your head. Just think about all the things that you're working on.
yeah,
What are the results that I'm getting out of them? You know what I mean?
yeah,
I'm gonna concede my time now. Sorry, guys. I just
yeah.
wanted to
And
answer. Yes, I want
yeah,
to answer his question directly.
sorry, yeah, and I want to comment really quick. Well, I see what you're saying, and that's kind of the practical approach, yes. But the issue with in for me is that, okay, now you put some effort, you didn't get the result, but maybe you were in the red light, right? And if you do the same thing or like similar stuff, if you let the time pass by, right, or you change the situation a little bit and then you do the same thing again, you could accomplish the results that you were expecting, right? And now you just don't realize what light you were facing, right, when you were attempting to
Yeah.
accomplish anything.
Yeah, that's when the forced light comes. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't know which light it is, and life will eventually show you. You know what I mean? And that was part of what I was saying. We don't always know. We try to identify. We do whatever we can, but sorry. I think it should be Luis's turn now to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Good morning, brothers. Despite of what each of us may think of what to do when we have in front of us a red light, a yellow light, or a green light, Masonry has told us and taught us that the three ingredients necessary to accomplish all things, in other words, to be successful at things, is timing, patience, and perseverance. Timing, patience, and perseverance. But at the same time, it's asking us to use prudence. The green light may be there, but we don't know what is at the intersection. If we are too much in a hurry, if we are not cautious in our lives, if we are getting into businesses we don't know about, we are going to just have ourselves to blame because we are not using the prudence necessary. Uh, for all those who know me, you know I do not rely on somebody else's experience. I am of the belief that each of us has a destiny. But something that has helped me throughout my life is the fact that each of us have to choose wisdom over wealth. If you are a wealth-driven individual, if that is your destination, you might be blinded, by the light. You might be blinded by anything that shines, thinking that is gold. And how do we get wisdom? Freemasonry again says no man should ever enter upon any great or important undertaking, the business upon which your life relies on, your future, your present. I think that is a very important undertaking. Nothing can be more important than your own life. Then, more than ever, you need to pray. You need to have this open communication with the Almighty. But the perseverance that Masonry is talking about doesn't mean that you know better than Him, that the Almighty. Each of us are endowed with different skills and talents, and there is only one person among all of us who knows the end from the beginning. We don't. Maybe I came here to become the best clown in the world, but I want to be a doctor. And I killed myself to become a doctor. And when 10 years later, everything goes down the drain, fraud and this, and I get sued because I misdiagnosed and blah, 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 when I would have been well off if I would have just followed the clownish thing. So God only knows each one of our paths. Can we succeed? Of course, we have lots of stories of people that have succeeded without ever praying to God. But at what
1 minute,
price?
brother.
My question. At what price are we willing to go the wrong road? And therefore, my dear brothers, let us always remember what Masonry teaches us, and it will go well with us. That's all.
Gracias, hermano.
Joshua.
Hello, brothers. So, how I took the green light, yellow light, red light analogy was for me, it's like opportunity. So for me, I have like 10 green lights, and it's like analyst where you have so many options to choose from, you get paralyzed a little bit. And then there's like the yellow lights, and it's like the unclear, like the avenue, like it's like the highway with the yellow lights. And I was like, that looks like a really good option to go down that path or that opportunity. However, it's unclear, and there's other green paths too. And then sometimes I take the green light, and you get stuck in like a bunch of like red lights ahead, because you can't, hindsight is 2020. You can't see, oh, if I take that green light, oh, there's gonna be 10 red stops. As if I take the other green light, it could just be a one-way path without any more red lights or yellow lights. So yeah, and the yellow light sometimes is just, it has a good reward, but it's unclear. It's like a journey. You don't want to get stuck on a highway into a place that you're like, oh wait, I didn't want to go there or whatever. So that's like in terms of like opportunity and it being clear or unclear, you know. So that's how I took it, and it's just being identified that. Yep.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you. That was really
Brother,
insightful, actually. Thank you.
Yep.
Brother Shikar, did you have your hand up and want to come in?
I thought I saw Ronnie's hand up too at one point, but
I did
it went
too.
down.
Yeah, I think we lost both of them.
Hi, dearest brethren. Well, firstly, I would like to thank Brother Sean for such a lovely presentation, and just wanted to add to Brother Lewis's words of wisdom that Masonry teaches us about perseverance, prudence, patience, and today I chanced upon a video wherein it said that the wind doesn't compete; it simply blows. The flower doesn't compete; it simply blooms. So yes, just and again, wealth is it doesn't stay with you forever, but wisdom is something that you carry with you, and in your afterlife. I don't know what happens uh, once you leave your mortal flesh back, but wisdom is something that uh, when you don't obsess over wealth, when all you have is patience, perseverance, industry, empathy, you just like how Brother Sean said, you move smartly. You don't uh, you're not in a rush to go all in to keep running. So yeah, thank you so much, Brethren. Uh, it was uh, it was an eye opener. Thank you, Brother Sean.
Thank you, Brother Shakar. Appreciate your comments. Mason.
My thing would be that I don't use the yellow and red lights enough. And I'm often saying yes to so many things that I'll get home at like 6 or 7 p.m. and be like, oh no, it's time for me now. Um, and so an example would be like starting my day with day trading, and then I roll that into a business meeting, lunch with Lewis, and then now I want to go to the gym because I need to work on my physical health. And then as I'm getting home from that, now I need to go pick up mail, my car registration from my parents, so I have to go back out again. And then I'm feeling pretty good, so I go to the gym again with my cousin because I don't have a lot of physical strength most days. So when I do, I make sure to utilize it to the best of my ability. And then, as I'm going there, I'm seeing a text from a brother about a form that I'm supposed to fill out for them, which makes me think of the potatoes I have to plant because they're sprouting, and the call that I have to have with Justin about ion transfers. And so, clearly I'm seeing too many green lights. If every light is green, then who has the right of way while we're driving? And so my free will is kind of overriding the feeling that guides me towards what I should do at that time. But I feel like the beauty is now that I can remind myself that that's what the list is for. The point is a to-do list for like today, this week, by the end of the month. It's not to skip today's to-dos for next month's. It's utilizing the 24-inch gauge. Time management is key. And as I say to each and every one of you, that it's with each and every endeavor. God be with you throughout each and every endeavor. And so I need to apply that knowledge and wisdom more prudently in my own life because I can do all of these things that I just listed to you. It's just I can't do them all at the same time. So thank you, Sean, for the presentation.
You're welcome. Thank you for the insightful response, especially like who has the right of way. I love the way you put that. That was awesome.
Yeah, and we all talk about lists. I feel like we can easily have too many things on one list or too many lists to where we're biting off more than we can chew. So,
Brother Justin.
I don't really have any comments on today's speech. I just wanted to make a nomination that the 4-minute time requirement does not apply to Brother Lewis. I vote yes, and I would like the rest of the room to vote on that as well, please.
Your vote is noted. Thank you so much, Justin.
I raise my hand. I vote yes.
Yeah, Brother Luis is He's our sage.
Jesse, do you have your
Absolutely.
hand up? Do you have a thought?
Yeah, I do. Here, I'll live by the 4 minutes. Um, Sean, thanks so much for this conversation, this topic. Um, I mean, just on a shallow note, as you were talking, I was like, man, this for all of us drivers, this red, yellow, and green imagery is so embedded in us that it's like, oh, we can just run with it. But that's
I literally
besides the
drive
point.
for a living, like part-time, so that's why.
Yeah, how do you not resonate with it?
Exactly. I'm constantly sitting at lights. That's where it came from,
You're right.
honestly.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
That's why I thought of it.
But your question at the end, I think is my favorite part and my takeaway. What light are you in right now, and what are you acting to kind of embody that light, or how are you responding to that light? Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
I think this one, and kind of piggybacking on what Mason was talking about, it feels like in our culture, in a lot of cultures, this everything must be green lights all the time. We must be productive. We must be accumulating wealth and resources as much as possible, maximizing and optimizing our output. Um, this is unsustainable. We burn out, and so utilizing your red lights is so important and underrated. I think right now, just in life, I'm in a red light. I finished up a graduate program. I'm kind of in this holding pattern before I can get my counselor's license and actually start practicing. But it doesn't feel like a red light. It feels like things should be green. So that's my nervous system kind of taking over. And I think it's kind of important for all of us to recognize that, maybe a green light is just your inner reactivity that is conditioned to see green lights. Take a second and and uh, and see whether that's actually what you're living or if that's what you're projecting. You know, those were my thoughts, Sean, as you were talking. I appreciate it, man. This is a great topic.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. I was just giggling at what Matt said in the comments. Sometimes you have a green light for rest, you know what I mean? That feels so some people would take that as a red, but it's actually like maybe it's a green for rest.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for who's next? Luis again. Or
Just a final thought, President Sean. I would like to express how appalled I am to some Freemasons who have all these wonderful degrees and they wear their pins and lapels showing that they know so much or they have all these accomplishments. But when I ask them, uh, would you please give us the invocation or the benediction? They say, what is that? I said, you have never prayed? You don't pray to the Grand Architect? No, the only time I pray is when I go to lodge. So it shows me the greatest disconnection between what we are told, what we profess to believe, and what goes on in our daily lives. I sure hope that nobody here in this group goes through that kind of experience. I hope everybody here has the humility to bow either in the day or in the night and pray to God, even though you can do it. You are planning to do your gardening today. You don't need God's help to help you dig or to water or anything, but there is always something to be grateful about. And when we do that, when we have a humble heart, is when wisdom comes. Remember our example of King Solomon. He could have asked for all the wealth as all kings do, but he asked for wisdom. And I think that there is wisdom in that example. And that's all I got to say. I had to say.
So I just wanted to, and people have said various things on this already, but I don't know if it was named exactly. You know, we all have our model of the world, and we can't really depend on knowing what results are. I think Joshua was saying this, like we don't know how things are going to end up. We just make our best guess based on what we know. And so it seems to me that the role that we have ahead of us is making sure that our world modeling is as accurate and consistent as possible, and that we're constantly testing it and, and revisiting our beliefs, our behaviors, the way we express, because it's real easy to fall into this this place where we feel like we know, and we don't update, or I don't update as much as I should. So I just wanted to say a lot of this red light and green is a responsiveness to how we think the world is and how it runs. That's all.
Thanks,
Welcome.
man.
Well,
Awesome.
hi everybody, good morning. I hope you are all having a great day. I think at the moment, using the same analogy that Brother Sean proposed, I think my stoplight just short-circuited. I'm going through probably one of the hardest, if not the hardest, times in my life because of some uh well health problems of a family member of mine. So I think maybe a factor that analogy may have neglected, at least to my understanding, is the progress is not linear, you know. I used to think like that. I used to think, well, if I respect the signals of the stoplight, I just stop when it is, red. I stay alert when it is yellow, and I just keep going when it is green. Everything will be okay. But lo and behold, I figured out that it's not like that. It's not that easy. And just so I imagine myself being controlling the steering wheel and being the driver. And I imagine that, for example, my little sister, she's the person probably that I would be willing to sacrifice everything I have, including my life. I imagine if she's suffering from some problem and she needs to go to the hospital, and maybe I'm driving, and just I happen to be stopped by a red light, but I know that I have my time is limited, and the clock is ticking away, and I have to get to that hospital no matter what. Well, maybe I will make an exception. I will keep going. But the thing is, I should take responsibility for my decisions. So if I happen to crash or if I provoke uh, an unexpected result, I am absolutely sure that I will take charge for that. So I guess in the final equation, what I would say, I guess what I'm trying to say is uh, more important to me, respecting the lights, and knowing when to stop, when to keep going, when to just reflect on what you have achieved, what you have managed to accomplish. That's utterly relevant, but not nearly as much as having a plan. If you have a direction, if you know where you are heading into, uh, it doesn't really matter much uh, how you move or the roads you take. I mean, you may take a shortcut, although to me shortcuts do not exist. But what really matters is you know what the final destiny is. So yeah, maybe you may move to the right, to the left. You may take an alternative path, but it doesn't matter because you know that eventually you will get there. And that's it. Thank you so much, brother.
Sorry, I had
Thanks,
my
man.
hand up.
Thank you very much, Waco.
Brother Anthony.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I think Wacko had said something there that falls in line with I think everything I've been saying over the weeks. I think it's great to share experiences, but we have our own paths, and the light is really the light within us, starting from the Cather. And I think when when I've said over and over again is that we have the ability from our thoughts to create a consciousness. So waiting for outcomes, I don't think it matters what that outcome is. We're going to learn from it regardless. So the fear and or the stress of trying to wait for something to happen, it's not meant for us to be stressed at or about, I should say. I think everybody here has had experiences, and it seems like there's been a lot of stress with those experiences. And we do not have the ability for it to recognize an outcome, but we do have the ability to take a thought and make it into an action. And with that, it alleviates all your stress. And to my brothers here, thank you for allowing me here the last couple of minutes. Thank you.
Brother Anthony, thank you for verbalizing what I was thinking all day.
Beautiful.
I'd like to share
Thank you.
something with you guys.
Yes, Steve.
Hearing all you guys sharing, it's kind of refreshing in a way that all of us have anxieties of every day, but not all of us would express that, whether outwardly or inwardly. And I work with a lot of veterans, and the inward part where the quote unquote the warrior's mantra, the ethos that we carry when you're in the military is suck it up, move along. It'll get, yesterday was the hard day, but tomorrow it'll be worse kind of mentality. So we kind of just carry on and move on. But when we get out into civilian life, that still sticks with us. All the trauma, all the things we see, all the things that we bury kind of intermingles with everything that we do, in all of that. And I love Louise's reminding us that King Solomon and all of his, dealings in the world, God asked, what would you like? Imagine God asking you that, gentlemen. What would you like of all the things I could give you? He didn't ask for riches. He didn't ask for anything powerful. He didn't ask for all the power in the world. He asked for simply wisdom. And wisdom is something that, everybody wants. And the red light, yellow light, and the green light, Sean, I love the analogy because here's the thing. There is a whole economy out there of palm readers and card readers and psychics that operates on what you want to know about your future. And God simply reminds us in Ecclesiastes that what I've been reading with my group is this simple part in Ecclesiastes 3. What do people, in verse 9, it says, what do people really get for all their hard work? I have seen the burdens God has placed on all of us. Yes, God has made everything beautiful for its own time. Its own time, gentlemen. Something that we struggle with is we always want to know exactly what's going to happen in the future. And we don't know. God simply gave us the free will, and Masonry teaches us, what do we do with that free will? Do we build a house that, not made out of hand, but by wisdom and trust and hope? Or do we go on our own and try to build something and have anxiety and fight over our own well-being internally as well as externally to gather what we need and what we want? And the hard part of that is to simply just sit down every day. And I've shared this with you before. I used to start my day like a freaking hurricane blowing through the Florida Keys. But I've learned through the years that if I just simply sit down for 20 minutes, 10 minutes at most, get away from my phone, put it away, and just simply ask, what do you have in store for me today, God? What is it on my list? What do I have that I really need to get out of the way? Not everything that I need to do, but what are my priorities? And that simple act, gentlemen, really has helped me gather what I need to do for the day without much anxiety. And even if the anxiety comes, I remember what God has told me. Just step forward one step at a time. And I want to share that with you, brothers, because I know all of us have this internal battle that we have. And I need for all of you to focus on just the loving kindness of the great architecture that he's given us one more day on this earth to do what he's asked of us. And that's just simply live, love your brother, love your neighbors as yourself, and do what you can for your family and just move forward. Thank you.
That was beautiful, Steve.
Yeah, it was excellent.
In college, we were taught to snap our fingers instead of clapping so it wouldn't be as loud.
Mhm.
That's
So,
funny.
may I piggyback quickly on what you just said because it was beautiful, brother. I think what you were getting at really shook me to the core, and it reminded me somehow, I don't know why, but of the, this passage in the Gospel of Matthew. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will open. And just I realize that sometimes what we want to accomplish, just we need to ask for it. So we need to be humble enough to say, okay, I cannot materialize this goal that I have in mind, independently of the fact that it is the right goal for us or not, or is what we, like Luis said, maybe he was meant to be the best clown on earth and he ended up becoming a doctor. It is not that's beside the issue. The point is, you have to be cognizant of the fact that if you surround yourself with the right people, and that's what I meant by the plan. If you have this direction, if you're not just wandering, meandering like aimlessly, I think chances are things will turn out the way you expect, or at least something approximating a prosperous, successful life, not only for you but for the community, the people you live. That's what I every time I take a step or I decide to like move forward or move backwards, because to me there's no such a thing as um, staying the same or staying still. To me, we are sort of going like against the stream, and not doing nothing is doing something actually. At least in my personal experience, my experience has been that in order for you to thrive, you need to do something. And I've spent most of the time of my life trying to provide for my family, and so we are like a clan, like any other family, and that's beautiful because irrespective of how things will turn out, you have no way to know that. It's just beautiful to notice how you are able to change worlds, not the world. I mean, not the entire world, but the world of a person. Someone who is close to you. And I think to me that realization was really liberating.
Beautiful.
It looks like I'm up. I just had two things. There's a quote from Alice in Wonderland that I'm going to paraphrase, and it's Huaco brought it to mind. It's something along the lines of, if you don't know where you want to go, then it doesn't matter which direction you take. I'm really paraphrasing, but the idea is, if you don't have like a goal or an ideal or something you're aiming to, like you can walk around responding to these immediate, cause and effect things. But it's really important to have like an overarching goal or philosophy of movement or world modeling to really be effective. And then one other thing that came up before, because of the prior speaker, was Carlos Castaneda's idea of stopping the world. That always just really resonated with me because sometimes things get so fast and just spinning around. Like sometimes you just need to be that still, silent space and realize that all these things that are coming up are completely, they're kind of fabricated in a way. And you can decide to do that red light, that full stop, and and wait for that, what they call the still small voice to come in to offer some sort of guidance. But I feel like we really do have to go to that eye of the hurricane space and kind of separate ourselves from all the drama that is swirling around so we can basically reorient. That's all.
Thank you, Brother Piper.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm glad you guys had a lot of insight for that. You guys made me think of it in ways. That's what's good about a metaphor, I guess. Is it's how we interpret it. So it's been really interesting hearing all the different interpretations that I hadn't even thought of while creating this presentation. So thank you.
Does
Yeah.
does anyone ever get a sense of having both a red and green light where there's like this tension or sense of like there's maybe clarity on one hand, but then there isn't the motive force on the other
Yeah,
hand?
you're not sure which one it is. Yeah, that
Maybe it
happens
is
to me
yellow.
all the
Girlfriend,
time.
can
That's
I?
the yellow one, no?
So if you think of the colors as it relates to the universal color spectrum within us, when you say stop, it is red, which is really relevant to the heel, which is the lowest form of frequency.
Yeah.
In order to get away from the red, you must travel to the crown, to the purple. You will stop at yellow as a caution, and you will proceed at the heart when it's a green light. So the colors red, yellow, and green are relevant to our own inner chakra frequencies. So when you start going to the green, it means you're basically climbing the 33 vertebrae to the crown where you
Yep.
become purple. So that is a very, very telling story today of the color spectrum. So thank you.
And
See,
green
now
and
now
red
I
make
wish I had
purple.
thought of that metaphor because that's perfect.
And green and red make purple, Anthony.
Yeah.
Yep, that was awesome.
Present Piper is 10:27.
Thank you very much. Shall we wrap it up?
Yeah.
Bear with me for just a moment, please, gentlemen. Okay. My brethren, this has been once again a great gathering of minds. Thank you, Sean, for the topic. That was just splendid, and really appreciate all the conversation that added to this.
Yeah.
We thank you all for the fellowship and all the sharing. Your input and energy with us this morning has been edifying. We hope you all enjoyed this devotional meeting, and we invite you to meet with us in our social hour following. President Mason shall be reading our closing scripture, and the benediction shall be offered by Brother Octavio, I believe. Is that correct, Louis?
Joshua.
Joshua, Brother Joshua.
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is to the grand architect of the universe for brethren to dwell in unity.
Mm.
Am I supposed to, let me
That's
know when
you,
the prayer.
Joshua.
Okay, okay. Thank you, most holy grand architect, for blessings with consciousness, wisdom to be able to discern between spirits, people, signs, opportunities, or just simple things in our daily life. Thank you for enlightening us so that we can see and be able to guide our inner self to be able to bring blessings with for others and ourselves. In the Grand Architect's name, amen.
So mote
Let
be.
it be.
So mote it
So
be.
Someone
mote
be.
be.
So let it be.
So mote it be.
Awesome. Thank you guys once again. My brothers, this is the social hour, aka the happier hour of the Society of Light, and it is dedicated to fully supporting the mission of Masonry, that of creating a society where hypocrisy and deceit are unknown, where sincerity and plain dealings distinguish us, and where with the tongue and with the heart we join together in promoting each other's welfare and rejoice in each other's prosperity. So the point of this is networking and getting to know our new brothers